So for the 2018 Dragon Ball Super movie, Broly is back, this time being written by Toriyama. So what I wanted to talk about here in this video is how can they take this character of Broly that's already been established for several years and was the star of 3 Dragon Ball Z movies and make him more interesting this go around? What can Toriyama do to make Broly a better character, a more interesting character, or maybe even a character that people are going to like more than the old Broly? Besides just making him stronger, what else can they do? Because this is going to be a different Broly. So how will it be different? Let's talk about that on this video. So joining me here, please welcome back to Geekdom 101. He wasn't here too long ago when we talked about Frieza, and that was right before all this Broly craziness came about. Now we have more information from the trailers and from all the information that's out, so we're going to discuss all the new information. Please welcome Real to Real.
What's up, Geekdom? Always a pleasure to be on your channel. Thank you for having me. And this discussion is probably going to be a little crazy, honestly. It could go every single way, really.
I agree with that. Now, when it comes to Broly, a lot of folks did not like him in the old movies because he was just kind of a mindless brute who just kept saying Kakarot over and over again, and because he, his whole backstory and his hatred for Kakarot is because they were born on the same day, and Goku kept crying as a kid, as a baby, and Broly went crazy as a result of it. And that's not even including the whole Planet Vegeta exile, which I think is a better storyline. But it seems to me like with this movie, I don't think Toriyama is going in that direction. I think the crying stuff is going to be out, which I got to be honest, I'm happy about, because that was probably the most annoying thing about the old Broly character.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And really, there's a lot of different things they can do with him. The one thing I really hope they don't do is have any connection whatsoever with Goku. And I can't even say if that's going to be 100%, because I know you did a video on your channel recently about the whole Bardock thing and then bringing all that back. So obviously Bardock and or Goku is going to have some prominence in this movie, especially in some flashback scenes. So We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, and the thing with Broly is, I've seen some people say that they think that he should be a little bit of an intellectual in this movie, and I don't know if that's fitting for the Broly character. I know that it would be a different take on Broly, but I do think that's a bit too much of a radical take. That being said, though, Broly being a bit smarter than the first Broly, again, not always just screaming Kakarot, I think is a better idea, and I think him being more driven and motivated is certainly a better idea. But how do you think Paragus fits into all this? Because we know that he's got some kind of device. We don't know if he's still going to be controlling or suppressing Broly's power. That we don't know yet, but it does seem to be the case. How do you think Paragus' role will be in this film compared to his role in Dragon Ball Z Movie 8?
Well, I really think it's going to be like it was in the very first movie, very much connected to Broly and Broly's motivation to fight Goku. So, as you already said, Broly's motivation in the first movie was really he was mad at Goku. There wasn't really a connection with Vegeta. That was more of a Paragus storyline where he was mad at Prince Vegeta and King Vegeta. I think it's going to be maybe focused on a different antagonist. It doesn't have to be Vegeta, but it really still could. I mean, who knows? I think I'm going to think it actually really kind of reinvents itself. I don't think Toriyama is going to do the exact same thing, and I think he's going to really flip it on its head. I don't really see Paragus in the original movie as being someone who was trying to control Broly in order to fight Goku and Vegeta. He was really trying to suppress it the entire time because that wasn't his main plan. He wanted to kind of abandon the planet and watch the meteor hit the planet and kill everyone involved. So I think, what if this time he somehow goes with Broly, they grow up together. These are the flashbacks and the Saiyan heritage and history that we're seeing. The main bulk of the exposition and story of the Saiyans is told through flashbacks, with Paragus being that vice. But as he grows up, Paragus really starts to see Broly's potential, and that's why he's mind controlling him, because he sees that he can get his revenge on whoever it is, and he's really the one controlling him. And I would take that directly from the trailer, where he seems to be ordering Broly, who just goes mindless, to attack Goku and Vegeta. So, I mean, there's some plausibility there.
Not just that, but I think one of the key factors in this film compared to the first one is the Frieza element. Now, we already discussed Frieza, but it could be that in this version of the story, Paragus has beef with Frieza, or maybe even Beerus, for the destruction of Planet Vegeta. It could be one of those things where he's coming back for revenge on Frieza, but there has been talk and pictures and whatnot of Frieza and Paragus joining forces at some point in the movie, and Broly as well. So it's tough to say if that's really going to be the case, but Frieza was nowhere to be found in the first Broly movie, and in this Broly movie, he's definitely there. Now, how do you feel about the idea of Broly becoming kind of a sympathetic character? Kind of becoming a character to where, you know, Paragus is really the real manipulative foe in the film, and Broly's just kind of, you know, again, being manipulated. How do you feel about the idea of maybe him, again, it sounds so far-fetched, but Toriyama could do whatever he wants. How do you feel about him possibly being sympathetic or possibly even surviving the film?
I think he's definitely going to survive the film. I know a lot of people might disagree with that because, like you said, it's strange to think of Broly as a sympathetic, non-villain type character. But if they decide to take a little inspiration from current Dragon Ball, where they make him a little bit closer to what Kale is in her non-berserk form, I could really see that being a huge plus for his character. Plus, you know, just to kind of step away from story elements for 1 minute, you know, we have only a certain amount of characters in Dragon Ball history that are so beloved by the fans that people will really just go crazy over them coming back. Frieza's one of them, Trunks is one of them, Bardock, and then you have Broly. I don't really think that there's anyone else besides maybe bringing back Janemba or Cooler that's going to get the entire community so riled up and excited about any new project they do in the future. So just keeping him in their back pocket and not letting him completely be thrown into the sun like he was in all these other movies, I don't know. I can't imagine that they would do that. They're going to keep him around for the future. Now, I think the only way to do that really is having him be a sympathetic character, really.
Yeah, with the idea sort of being that maybe Paragus is a slave. But I was also thinking, you know, maybe a twist on that. Maybe, again, we're just kind of just spitballing here. It could be possible that, you know, in this film, Paragus, maybe he is manipulating Broly, but maybe Broly cares for him. And maybe in the movie, you know, Frieza or someone else, maybe one of Frieza's henchmen, or maybe Goku or Vegeta, I don't know, Piccolo, who knows, probably one of Frieza's henchmen, kills Paragus, and that actually is what triggers Broly to lose control. Maybe Broly does care about his father. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I like the idea. I think that plays into the whole sympathetic nature. I mean, even if they can paint Paragus as this manipulative old, because just visually he looks like the oldest Saiyan that we're ever going to meet in this main timeline.
Right.
So, like, imagine him kind of raising Broly, teaching him what it was like to be a Saiyan, and he still loves him. But, you know, you can go back to what I said at the beginning of the video. If Paragus is controlling him and making him fight and basically using his power to his own advantage and getting further and further in the world or universe or something, and maybe even going after Frieza, Beerus, or Vegeta, and all the while you have Broly just being really a sympathetic character and loving his father no matter all of this, and even being emotionally attached to when he gets killed or when he gets mortally wounded or something like that, I feel like that would really tug at the audience's heartstrings and be a really awesome selling moment for the character and probably the future of the character if they decide not to take him out.
Right. Now, how do you feel about the possibility of Broly wanting to face Goku, not because of the crying thing, because I really think that's going to be history, but what do you think about the idea of Broly facing Goku because he wants to challenge himself? In other words, he's not quite like Goku or Caulifla, who always want to strive to be stronger, but because he's a Saiyan, because he enjoys battle, maybe there's going to be a twist here. It's not really a twist, but it's an interesting perspective where he wants to fight Goku and Vegeta because these guys have achieved these god powers, and maybe Broly wants to test himself against them. You know, I could see that being another way to kind of change his character around.
That would be cool. I feel like we've seen too much of that recently.
I agree.
Really,
I agree. We've seen too
like
much.
We've seen it with Hit, with Kale and Caulifla at some point. We saw it with Jiren and everyone else from the Tournament of Power. So I kind of like the idea of him just being a berserker. However that actually comes about, whether he loses control for a sympathetic reason or a mind control reason or some kind of beef with somebody else or some history, it would be... I mean, I think that's the toss-up. I don't think that they're going to change Broly that much, where when he goes berserk, he doesn't just completely loses his mind. What
else do you think they could change with Broly to make him more interesting than he was the first time around?
You know what I would do, and this is crazy, but something I've been thinking about.
Well, you are the king of crazy ideas. That never happened, but they should.
I would bring back the Tuffles. I don't know why, I don't really know how, but maybe you can tie it into how Paragus and Broly got off the planet before the destruction, and then you could also kind of show why they were able to get all of these
you know what would be
into-
awesome if the movie ends in kind of a quasi cliffhanger, and then the post credit scene we see like the Toriyama version of Baby, and it's like, okay, now Toriyama's taking everything he didn't create and recreating it. That, you know, and then they lead into like the new series or into another movie. I know it sounds wacky, but I'd be okay with that. I said in my stream, Baby and Cooler are my two picks for Toriyama taking characters and making them his own.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's the thing, though. Like, I really think he's going to be taking from more than just the Broly movies, and that's going to be the main surprise. So what I would do, like I said, is figure out a way to work the Tuffles in. It would be a great way to really develop the story a lot more, especially if you're going to go in flashbacks and explain more about the Saiyan heritage and how they got to Planet Vegeta, especially when we know.
Yamoshi, where's all that stuff at, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing I would do, too, is I would probably have Paragus a little bit resentful, you know, have his idea of why he wants to get back at Vegeta or King Vegeta or Frieza or Beerus or anybody else is tied back to their lineage. It would really be cool to me, although it would really shake things up if Paragus comes down, he's older, and he knows way more about the Saiyan mythology and history than Vegeta does, right? And he comes in with this you know, curveball that's like, no, you're not the royal blood. Your father usurped my family. We're the royal blood, and that's why we have...
You talking about Black Panther now, bro? We're doing the Black Panther storyline in Dragon Ball?
I'm just saying, like, that would be really cool.
Broly
Plus,
Killmonger.
you would tie that back into like why he's this legendary Berserker Saiyan and everything else like that, and maybe even tie it back to Yamoshi and something like that. That would be kind of cool, in my opinion.
Let us know in the comments how or what ways do you think they could take the Broly character, and what do you think Toriyama could do to make him more interesting, to make him a better character than he was in the previous Broly movies, and of course in all the video games and all that stuff. And don't forget to check out Real to Real Pro. I have a link to his channel down below. Any final thoughts, bro?
I just really want the whole Yamoshi thing. That's like, yeah, you're right. Let's do Black Panther Dragon Ball movie and just completely rip it off. That would be the best.
A lot of people want Yamoshi, and I think some folks were let down that it wasn't Yamoshi, but then it's like, oh, it's Broly. But there's just so much more backstory of pre-Planet Vegeta, like the Universe 7 Sadal, that I am more interested in. I actually want to hear more about that than just the stuff that we already know about, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
We'll talk to y'all soon.